Okay, so yeah, so today is going to be about the truth about media, about social media, and I would love for us to use the chat just so I can we can all kind of gauge where we are and be able to, yeah, just discuss. I'm not an expert in any way, just here to share a little bit and hope to also, learn from you guys as well. And feel free to unmute at any time too. This is like super open, super chill. So if you feel, it's sometimes it's easier to type into the chat. Sometimes it's easier to just unmute, like feel free. Okay. So my first question is about social media, and hopefully not hopefully, but probably these icons look familiar to you. Do they look familiar to you? Can you give me like a yes or no or thumbs up or something? I see Jimmy nodding, so I know Jimmy is familiar. Sophia, yeah, familiar, right? Okay. So, these are apps that are so popular in our society today, and perhaps you are on some of these, or perhaps you're not, but you know of them. Thanks, Elizabeth. And so my first question to you is, how many of these apps, we'll just focus on these 6, how many of these apps do you currently use? So for me, you can just put the number in the chat. For me, I currently use 4 of these, 4 out of 6, which is, what is that, 2/3? How many out of these do you frequently use? Feel free to just type a number in the chat, just so we can see where we are. It could also be 0. It could be 6. 1 app, YouTube. Totally. I think, although you number 4 on here, but I truly honestly think YouTube is like number 1. 2.5. Jimmy, this is a very interesting number.
I have just kind of started half using Instagram, only just because some people only message on Instagram.
Got it.
Yeah.
I understand that, half. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Neil, it's 2. Sophia, 3. Okay. So we are kind of in like the 2, 3 average range. And even though you may not use some of these, I'm sure, they're familiar to you, right? Okay, cool. My next question is, well, we talked about which apps do you specifically use. So we got YouTube from Elizabeth. Jimmy is saying Instagram. Well, what are the other ones? Will you guys just type it in? Like, is it Facebook or also YouTube, or any specific ones? Instagram.
Is LinkedIn, WeChat, and what's the other one? Line, also social media?
Definitely, yes. Those are definitely also social media. So feel free. Yeah, thank you, Neil. I tried to kind of narrow it down to the, kind of the top in the world right now. But yeah, like those are all social media as well. Line, yeah, WhatsApp or WeChat, LinkedIn for sure. So there's so many, right? So yeah, okay, perfect. I also use LinkedIn. I don't use Line, but I know many people who use Line as well. So definitely a lot out there. All right. Any other updates? Anyone also using YouTube? The 4 I use Instagram, I use Facebook, YouTube as well, and then I use Snapchat. I don't have a Twitter, but I sometimes use Joel's Twitter account and just kind of look at some tweets here and there. Facebook, okay, YouTube, and then the 0.5 Instagram. Thank you, Jimmy. All right, cool. My next question is, how much time do you think you spend, let's say per day, on social media, just overall? Like if you could give your best estimate per day, just like maybe scrolling through Instagram or responding to people on Instagram or watching videos on YouTube or scrolling through Facebook, chatting with people on other apps. Like, what do you think? Facebook Messenger. Oh yeah, Facebook Messenger. Yeah, I WeChat. IRC old. Neil, it's good. How many, what do you think? Are you guys in like the minutes or is it in the hours? I know for myself, I'm definitely in the hour range, like for sure. So what do you think is your best guess? There's no judgment here, by the way. Totally. This is just kind of like us getting to think a little bit about, you know, these questions. I want to say for myself, like I said, I'm definitely in the hours. Oh man, I want to say for sure more than 1 hour. Neil, you about 2 hours? Okay. I'm definitely more than 2 hours for sure. 1 hour total. Oh, hi, Amy. I didn't see you come in. Hello. 1 hour total weekdays, but weekends probably 3. Okay, cool. Wow, you guys, I'm already, yeah, you guys are my role models already. All right, so feel free, you can keep responding, but yeah, just thinking about how much time do we spend on these apps, you know, and I'm sure it depends. I like how Amy said, you know, weekdays, weekends, you know, there's differences. Sometimes we may be busier or, you know, whatever it is, there's something that we need to be on social media for. So it definitely depends, but just thinking about how many hours, just keeping that in mind and seeing. Okay. And then 1 to 2 hours. Okay, cool, Sophia. Thanks for responding. Appreciate that. All right, and then so my kind of last question on this slide is why do you use these apps? Like it could just be a one-word reason. So for example, for Instagram, I would say it's more like for my friends. Also for me to know a little bit more about pop culture, keep up with what's going on in the world. But why do you use these apps? Is it for communication, friendships? I don't know, just ideas, or when you're bored, or entertainment? What are some reasons of why you use these apps? Just put it in the chat. It'd be awesome. Did mainly chatting with friends. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, for sure. To see what everyone is doing. Jenny, thanks. Totally. To see what everyone is doing. That's me too. Sometimes for entertainment, sometimes look up stuff because I'm more of a visual learner. For sure, Elizabeth. I'm with you. Yeah, definitely. Looking things up, trying to see, you know, how other people do it, or getting inspiration. 95% communication for business, church, and current local news. Oh, yeah, love that. Mainly for talking with friends. Okay, cool. Thank you everyone for responding. I appreciate that. Okay, so it seems like a lot of it is to kind of keep our relationships, see what people are doing, whether it's chatting with them or just kind of checking up on them. And probably that's what other people are doing too, right? And also just to keep ourselves, you know, up to date on what's going on, but also what's going on in the world and with other people. So I think that's the main thing. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. We'll just keep these in the back of our minds as we continue on, okay? All right, the next slide, I have a question. All right, this is like, I have like 3 trivia questions, okay? How many commercial messages do you think you're exposed to each day? Not just commercials on television, but billboards, online ads, so any like advertisements. How many do you think you are exposed to each day? Like anywhere, anytime, wherever you are. What's your guess? Like, I'm looking for like a number. What do you think? Don't be shy, just randomly guess. And I got these statistics from, I'm just letting you know, from the lesson. And I tried to guess too, and I was wrong. So I was wrong for all of them. So feel free to guess, like just think like, you know, whether it's on, like it says, TV or just scrolling online, hundreds. Okay, too many to count. Okay, any other guesses? What do you think? Billboards. I mean, I just drove. I live in Irvine, just drove, and there were like so many billboards already. I don't even know. 33. I like that very specific number. About 300. Okay, so we're like from 33 to the hundreds to no count. We just don't know. All right. Are you ready for the reveal? Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. It is 3,500 and 5,000 between these numbers in a day. Isn't that crazy? When I saw that, I was kind of scared. I know, right, Amy? Like, I don't even know. I was trying to think back, like, you know, in a day, what could I see? And it's like, so some of these ads are so subtle, or we just don't realize it. And, you know, they're just like flashing, you know, in front of us, and we just don't know. And like, ugh, is that crazy? Okay. I have more. All right. How much money do you think the advertising industry spends targeting messages toward your age and younger? So like, I don't know about your age and younger, but basically just, you know, maybe in the teens, high school, college, like that demographic, you know. Some of us are older, so they may not be targeting us as much, but you know, like, how much money do you think they spend? Billions of dollars. Ooh, okay. Any other guesses, or does everyone agrees with Neil? 3 million, okay. All right, last guess, anyone? Okay, so we're in like the millions, the billions. Okay, here we go. $15 billion per year. Woo! Again, what's right? That's the amount of money they're spending specifically. That's a lot of money. I know, right, Elizabeth? Like, honestly, I can't, it's very hard for me to imagine like $15 billion. And that's just on ads. And it's very specific to, you know, a demographic. And so like, that's so crazy, right? Okay. I think do I have one more? Was that my last one? Oh, yeah. Okay, I have one more. Okay. The average American household has a television on how much time per day? So that's like, you know, I know a lot of us watch maybe like Netflix or Hulu, like streaming, but just like including that, like on the TV, what do you think? Like average. So what do you think? So maybe not YouTube. I don't know. I know there's like YouTube TV or something, right? But I don't think this counts YouTube. I think it's more like shows, you know? Minutes, hours. What do you guys think? Average American household per day, 13 hours. Okay. It's a lot of hours, huh, Elizabeth? Any other guesses? 7 hours? Okay, it's really 7 to 13. 24 hours per day. Oh, Neil, I know, right? 12 hours. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, so the answer is 8 hours and 11 minutes. So not as high as 24 or 13 or 12, but again, this is average. So for sure, right? I know, so specific. I can't tell you how they came up with that, but it must have been some crazy math. But like 8 hours is already 1/3 of the day, right? And like that's already a lot of time, and it's average. So that means there are, people, a lot of people who are spending like the 12, 13, even more hours just with the TV on. And with YouTube now, I'm sure if we counted that, I believe like 24 hours, we're getting up there with just being on the laptop and other devices, right? And so, I think these statistics are just pretty surprising. I mean, I think we all know that a lot of money is being spent, a lot of time is being spent regarding ads, regarding social media, just being online. But just seeing these statistics, I was like, wow, this is truly like we are in a time where media is in our lives pretty much 24/7. And it's so easily accessible, and we can just be on it at any time of the day, and other people are on it, like thousands, millions of other people are on it too. And it's only gonna get, I think more and more a part of our lives. So as we continue, I just want, just us to kind of think about this, and just, have that in the back of our mind, some of these statistics, and, how we are using social media, as we talked about before, like our specific apps that we use, the time that we spend, and what we're doing on it as well. So, my next thing is, why do you think these companies then spend so much time, money, and effort trying to get all of us to be on social media, to be watching these things, to be commenting, to be posting, reposting? Why? What is their motive? Like, why would they spend, what was it? How many $billion? Was it 15 billion? Yeah. Why would they spend $15 billion a year just trying to get our attention? What's their purpose? What do you think? Any thoughts? Or like, why would they even have these numbers to begin with? That means they were doing studies and, trying to figure out what people's habits are. So what is their purpose? For fun? They just want to know what Americans are doing. Change a want to a need. Ooh. I was just thinking that, Jimmy. Wow. Neil, like, wow, change a want to a need. Oh, that's like totally what's happening. Wow. That like kind of puts things into a even more different perspective than I considered. Yeah, I think it's like a need now. Go ahead. Oh, is it?
Yeah, I just want to the reason why I'm really into this is because this social media thing is near and dear to my heart, because when I was what was it? When social media, when I said IRC, I meant that's an old internet relay chat, but
Okay.
I got addicted so badly that I spent hours upon hours, late nights at it. And so when your topic came up, I said, okay, I'm going to participate in this, because I'm probably not the only one who got addicted to it. And so, amen.
Oh, thank you for sharing, y'all. I think that want to a need, like it's literally one word, but that encompasses and impacts us so differently. And I definitely can see how it is becoming a need. We need to be checking, we need to be on it. We feel that desire so strongly, that pull. These companies, right? I mean, it's companies, it's brands. They have a goal, an agenda in mind, and yeah, it's important for us to kind of think about and reflect on why are these companies doing these things. So thank you, Neil. Appreciate that a lot. And so I guess that leads to our next question, kind of what Neil was alluding to for himself, but for us as a reflection, like, do you think you spend too much time on social media? You don't have to put in a chat if you want to, but I would say for me, yes, I think I do. I think I could definitely be cutting back, and I recognize that. And I'm wondering, like, is there anything anyone does to limit themselves? Just you can put it in chat too, but just thinking about it, right? So yes, if we think, okay, we do spend a lot of time on social media, maybe we don't think we spend too much time. We are like, we should spend more time. We can have more. I remember in high school, I would, try to bargain with my parents. In high school, for my sister and I, we were only allowed to use the internet for like non-school related things for 30 minutes a day, because my dad is an engineer, and he was like, he was able to set limits on the computer, and he could like monitor us. And so basically he set parameters so that we could only be on like basically like social media, or like looking at other things or watching videos, watching dramas for only 30 minutes a day. And at that time I was like, I could definitely use some more time doing those things. So maybe you think like you could have more time, but at the same time, like when you realize that, oh my gosh, I have been on social media for so long, or like my parents are limiting me, then why are they limiting you? Do you understand the reason? I think that's important to reflect on as well. So I think these are just some questions for us to keep in mind, keep in the back of our minds. We may not have a specific answer, but just to be reflecting and thinking on our habits, and why our parents may be doing certain things, or why we are doing certain things related to media. Okay. All right. So how am I relating this to the Bible? How is social media related to the Bible? Because there's definitely not social media, in the Bible during Jesus' time. Although, you guys, do you think Jesus would have had Instagram and Facebook? What do you think? Do you think he would have? Like, maybe he wanted to be on Instagram. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about, but I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh, there is no specific mention of social media in the Bible, right? It doesn't say like, do not spend all your time on Instagram or Facebook. It doesn't say that, right? Or it doesn't say like, limit yourself to 10 YouTube videos a day, or like, it doesn't say things like that, right? Impressive how you got how you got so many followers when there wasn't even social media. Oh, Amy, I agree. Like, what? He didn't even need social media. Got those followers with him and himself and his heart and his love. My goodness. So awesome. So I'm gonna show you a Bible passage, or actually two Bible passages. Go to the next slide. All right, so the first one on the left, it's Philippians 1, 9 through 11. I'll just read it for all of us. And so it says, and this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best, and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ, to the glory and praise of God. The second passage is Proverbs 3:21 through 23. And it says, my son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. Okay. So again, Still no mention of social media in these passages. But what I would like us to do is, do you see any key words in these two passages that are keywords in terms of like words that maybe just stand out to you in general, or words that show qualities or characteristics that, you know, we want to strive for, like God would encourage us to have? Do you see any words that stand out to you? Will you put it in the chat? Anything that stands out to you, as in things that we would hope for, that we could have, that God would want to put in our hearts and in our minds? Any keywords? Could just be like one word. For example, I'll do one. Like, for example, in the Philippians passage, knowledge. I'll put that in the chat. I can type. Yeah, there we go. Knowledge. Anything else that stands out to you? Discernment. Thanks, Jenny. Anything else? This is not like an English test where it's like, if you put a word and like, I'm like, no, that's not right. It's not like that. It's like any word that stands out to you as you're reading it, that you think, oh, like, you know, I would really like to have that, or, you know, I think God is saying that we should have that, or strive for that, or be encouraged to go towards that. What do you guys think? There's a lot. Okay, I guess there is a wrong answer. Like if you put the, like, I'm going to be like, maybe you should rethink that. Other than that, you know, feel free, go for it.
Nice, Liz.
Discretion, yes. Elizabeth. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Do you go by Liz? I'm so sorry. Let me know. Apologize. Anything is good. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. All right, so we got discretion, discernment, knowledge. Anything else? Anything? There are a couple words like that are not synonyms, but like related to knowledge. There's also a fruit. A fruit's in there somewhere. What else is there? There's two words together that are like related to discretion, discernment. Anything else? Again, there's nothing wrong. Just type it. If you're thinking about it and you're like, oh, but I don't know, just type it. It's probably right. It's not right, like, fine. If your heart is pounding, you're like, oh my gosh, I think I know, but I don't want to type it, just type it. It's a sign. I already gave you guys hints. I said fruit. That's my best hint of the whole presentation so far. Anything else? Love? Yes. Thanks, Sophia. Love it. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? We're doing good. Okay, let's see. Amy, I'm rooting for you. Help me out. Who else? Joel, where's your answer? All right. Righteousness. Yes. No need for question marks. It is correct. You are good to go. Okay, thanks, Amy. All right, all right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your participation. So I went through and highlighted a couple that I saw as well, which includes the ones that you guys said too. So let me just show them to you. So we have, oh, hey, my slides and update. Sorry, Sophia, it did say love as well. I don't know why it doesn't say that on here, but we got love, we got knowledge, we got depth of insight, discern, filled with the fruit of righteousness. On the other passage, wisdom, understanding, sound judgment, discretion, and safety. Right. So all of these, again, are just key words that are from these two passages, and they're similar. They're kind of, these words are kind of related to each other. I'm going to show you one other short passage that I didn't show you before, but also has discerning. The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge. The ears of the wise seek it out. So again, we see keywords here: discerning, discernment, knowledge again, wise. We had wisdom, we had sound judgment, right, from before. Discretion as well. So in these passages, and really throughout the whole Bible, we can see these keywords being repeated as things we want to literally keep in mind and keep in our hearts, right? And so, as we're thinking about social media, as we're interacting with social media, these are attributes and qualities that we want to keep in our minds and our hearts as we navigate this in our world. So for example, while on social media, have you had these thoughts or questions before? For example, how come my family and friends don't do that? How come they didn't do that for me like they did for them, right? Or I probably shouldn't be watching this, or I probably shouldn't be saying this right now online. All right. Or maybe you posted something. Okay, how many likes am I getting? I'm going to check, after I post it, I have a couple minutes, an hour, I have to respond to these comments. How many subscribers do I have? How many followers do I have? Right? Are my posts doing, are people looking at my posts? And did I even post the right thing? Right? Does it look like what I want it to look like? Right? Is this something I want to share? How will people perceive me? Right? Or, oh, I really want to buy that because that person is using that. So I want to, I think I want that too. Or something that happens to me, I just spent way too much time scrolling. Have you ever had that? Or way too much time watching YouTube videos? Like you're just like in a daze, and then you're like, oh my gosh, did I just spend like, I don't know, an hour just doing that? And then you're like, yeah, yes, I did. Right. Or, oh my gosh, like these people are at this event. Like, how come I wasn't invited? Or why are they there and I'm not there? And so I think as we're in social media, these thoughts and these questions, they come up for me. And I would say I'm an adult. So, I have these questions, I have these thoughts all the time. And I think that, maybe you have had some similar ones as well. And so how can we balance these thoughts and these questions, but also have discernment, knowledge, sound judgment, wisdom? It's hard. That's a lot of things that we have to be balancing and thinking about and reflecting on and, determining in our minds. And so, again, as we continue, I want you to just keep these things, like keep thinking about these things in regards to yourself. And, am I having discernment? Am I having wisdom? Have I had these thoughts before? Did I reflect on these things, just as we continue? I have a couple more slides here. So I was thinking about, social media, and I know a lot of times it's like social media is really bad. I know that, at school, some of you may have had like digital citizenship or some sort of like character development, or maybe your teachers tell you social media can be very harmful, or from your parents, like don't be on social media too much. And there's a lot of negatives, but we also know that there's positives as well. So I don't want you to think like, oh, it's like no social media. That's not what I'm trying to convey to you. But I was kind of thinking about what are some reasons that we should be on social media, or we enjoy social media, and how can it also be harmful at the same time? So helpful and harmful. So for example, stress. When I'm stressed, I like to go on social media and just kind of decompress and scroll and watch a couple of things, and it does alleviate my stress. Anyone else? When you're stressed out? Yes, Jimmy? Yes, right? And so it's really nice. It's kind of almost like, going somewhere else and just being in not part of your life for a little bit. I think that's really good. We need stress relief. At the same time, social media can cause us stress, right? Again, like the thoughts and the questions that I posted earlier, like those things are stressful to think about. And a lot of times, as we're, on social media, as we're interacting with people, that can cause stress. I've experienced it. I sometimes feel stressful just being on social media. Okay. Another thing is boredom, kind of related to a little bit of stress as well. But when you're bored, right, and you would like some entertainment, well, it's very easy and convenient to be scrolling, to be watching something, to be chatting with people, right? So that's great. But at the same time, is mindless scrolling the best thing we can be doing when we're bored with our time, right? So two sides, okay? With people, I love how you guys said, like, a lot of you just chat with people online, right? Or stay connected to your friends online. That's so great. I love it. I've been able to keep in touch with people I probably wouldn't have been able to keep in touch with if I wasn't on social media. At the same time, we know that there can be drama online, and that's difficult, and that's confusing. It can be very challenging at times as well, right? Ideas, we get, who said that? I think it was Liz, saying that she's a visual learner. So seeing things online can help her learn. Me too. Can be helpful in terms of inspiring us to do different things or try different things. But at the same time, we may feel like we're being compared, right? Oh, that's a really great idea. I didn't have that idea. Why didn't I think of that? So I think there's just so many reasons to be on social media, but also not. And it all comes into play with wisdom and discernment and knowing who we are and where our identity is. I'm going to talk more about that here. So I wanted to share kind of like 3 really short things that are related to me more personally. One thing is in terms of the ideas and comparison. So I'm on Instagram, and on Instagram, there is a community where it's like a lot of teachers are on Instagram. Like it's a whole thing. Okay, I know. Did you guys know that? Probably not, because you probably wouldn't be following any teachers on Instagram unless you're a teacher. But there are so many teachers on Instagram, and they post so many cute classrooms, ideas for lessons, what they're doing with their students, and it is so cool. Like it's just amazing. And there's so many cool ideas there. There was a time when I was consuming a lot of that content, just really scrolling through, spending a lot of time looking to see what other people were doing. And it came to a point where I started comparing myself and started feeling really down on myself for it. Like, how come, this teacher was able to create this awesome lesson for her students, but like my lesson on that really wasn't that great. Or, oh my gosh, this teacher is doing so much for her students, like giving like all her effort and like giving them like presents and all these things. But, I feel bad. Like I didn't do that. I didn't even think of that, or like this classroom is so cute. I know this is like totally a teacher thing, but this classroom is so cute. And like this teacher spent so much time on it. Like, oh my gosh, my room is, like, wow, my students are so unlucky to be in my classroom. And so for me, I had to really take a step back and remind myself, like, what am I using the social media for? Why am I on Instagram, and what is my purpose of looking at this content? Is it truly because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be like doing for my students, like I had to really take a step back and reflect on my identity and who I am and what I am doing. And that was a really big reality check for me. But I think that a lot of times we can spiral into that kind of thought process so quickly. And for me, it's something that I have to keep in mind all the time. And I know a lot of you know that like social media doesn't show everything, right? And I think that's something that for me is what I need to remind myself a lot about. Second thing is comments. I don't know about you, but I really like reading the comments on things because they're just like so interesting. It's like the comments are sometimes even more interesting than the post or the thing itself. And so, but what I was realizing as I was reading these comments is like, wow, there's like so many good people in the world. Like there's so many encouraging comments. Like people are so funny, they're awesome. But at the same time, wow, there are a lot of comments that are so just harmful and angering. And you're just like, why would somebody say that? And for me, I have to also check myself, like, I don't usually comment myself, but to realize like, am I internalizing those type of comments? Am I thinking the same way as that? And like, there's real people who are posting these things and they're reading those comments about themselves. And like, maybe you have read a comment about yourself and that wasn't that great. And you're like, wow, is that really, what or who I am? I think that's really important as we're scrolling and reading so much is, again, to know who we are, what are we about, and what kind of perception are we putting out there, and what is our thought process as well. So yeah, for me, like the comments, like I'm just, for myself, I'm like, okay, like what are my own thoughts and my own comments, and how am I taking that all in? And the last thing is time, and I think we can relate to that. Just the time that I'm spending on social media. And I know that on my iPhone, like I honestly just got a weekly screen report today. It tells me like how much time I spend on my phone. And it says your screen time was down 14% last week. So when I see that, I'm like, yes, I feel really good. But when it says that my screen time went up, I'm like, oh, like I gotta, reset my priorities here. And I think for myself, like that's just good for me to check. But I can be easily carried away as well. I think that's just, we need to be aware of that. So I know our time is getting close, but my last, I guess, things that I want to leave you with is, I know we talked about a lot of things, a lot of different things, but discernment. I think in terms of social media, right, we need to really think about what we are doing, thinking, like how we're interacting with all of these things, all of these people, all of these messages, these posts, these reposts, these followers, all of these. And in terms of content, like in order to discern, right, we need to balance our social media consumption with our knowledge and understanding of the Bible. And are we doing that, right? How can we discern if we are not spending time in gathering more knowledge for ourselves about discernment and wisdom and discretion from God, right? How can we discern if we are not relying on the Holy Spirit to guide us and to, tell us like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing that right now, or maybe I shouldn't be watching that right now. That needs to go in balance, right? So even though the Bible doesn't specifically talk about social media, but it does tell us what we need to be striving for and what we need to be encouraging ourselves and the people around us to be striving for as well, and what's in our hearts and in our minds. Second thing is moderation. And it's not about cutting it all out. I cannot tell you to cut it all out. I would totally be a hypocrite if I said that, because I'm not cutting it out. And I think that's not the point. The point is not to cut out social media. It's not saying like, oh, you cannot be on social media, you shouldn't be on social media. I don't think it's about that. But I think it's about this balance, right? This balance of knowledge and this balance of specifically time, right? What are we doing with our time? I know time goes sometimes very quickly, sometimes very slowly, but it is still our time. And what are we doing with that? Is it really about watching a video on YouTube about like really cute animals, which is totally fine, but if you're spending all of your time doing that, then what are you really gaining from that? I think we need to think about. And lastly, what messages are we consuming and also putting out to the world and to our friends and family, right? What are you investing in and who are you investing in? Is it these influencers and the brands and, you know, the products and the games? Didn't even talk about gaming, but, you know, like, and who and what are you listening to, right? Are you listening to strangers on the internet telling you things that may or may not be true? And again, that goes back to discernment, right? Are you listening to music or videos that may not be helpful to you? Where is your trust and where is your confidence? Because you know our trust is in God and our confidence is in Him, right? And who we are and our identity is not based on our social media, is not based on what we're doing in social media, but that our identity is sons and daughters in Christ. And how can we keep that as the center as we're interacting with all of these things in the world? And lastly, our knowledge is a reflection of our hearts. What's in our hearts? What's in our minds? Like literally what's in your mind or what's in your heart, right? So many times I'm on Instagram, I'm checking, I'm on Facebook, I'm checking, I'm chatting, right? And I'm consuming all of this, but what is truly in my heart and what is truly in my mind? They work together. What am I sharing with people around me? Can they see what's in my heart, right? And what is in my heart? I don't know. We have to really think about these things and really pray and ask the Holy Spirit for guidance. I think that's the main thing that I really want to share with everyone is that social media is not going away. It's here to stay. There's probably going to be a ton more things coming out. But in the end, like, who are you and what are you about? And, you know, I think that's the most important. And we need to rely on God to continually, you know, have our trust and confidence in Him and knowing who we are. And that way we can go out in the world and be strong and be just relying on Him. And that's all I have. All right, guys, I appreciate your time so much. And thank you for inviting me to come and speak. And I really appreciate everyone's participation. I know it's hard. I know Zoom is great, but it's also, you know, something that we want to hopefully move away from soon as we all come back. But I really appreciate you guys. And I hope that, you know, there's just like some things maybe to think about for all of us, myself included, as we just go on in our lives. So, Jimmy, shall I pray to end us and then